यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Sri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and your family and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, verse number 10 of 15th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Utkramantam Sthitam Vapi Bhunjanam Va Gunanvitam विमूढ़ानान पश्यन्ति ज्ञान चक्षुषः. This verse is a very important verse in 15th chapter. In the last verse we have learnt we the jivas do have departure and placement in another sharira. In that sharira, when we will be arriving there, means we will be placed, that is considered as arrival to that sharira. And we will be we will be owning baby's sharira, means a small baby who doesn't even know how to think. Okay, but here in this verse, Bhagavan says, Utkramantam, a jnani, a wise person, becomes aware about the one who sets the departure. Who set the departure? Not original I. That I which is endowed with limitation. He alone sets the departure. The journey enjoyed by that limited consciousness alone. That limited consciousness which is also understood as the reflection of the original consciousness. Okay. Now a jnani, he knows the departure is not for my original consciousness. That limited consciousness alone sets a departure. Okay. And this limited consciousness alone has set the arrival in this sharira. Therefore, he is very much aware about one who sets the departure, one who enjoys the departure, but who gives power for that departure, who is allowing that departure to take place, who is allowing the arrival to take place is nothing but the original Swarupa. So where departure and arrival is taking place is in none other than Brahma. In the Brahman which is all pervasive, all kinds of departures, arrivals are taking place in there. How do we recognize it? I'll give an example. How are we recognizing these phenomena? When you take a book, just you are reading word by word, means a sentence by sentence, it means word by word, it means letter by letter. When we read, one by one means one letter by another letter. Now you are just reading, people ask, are you able to read? Is there light? Then what will you answer? Yes, there is a light. How can you say there is a light? The person asks and say, by studying every letter, I see the letter, but I discern the light. Seeing letter itself an evident process for me to discern the light. Because of the light alone, I can read the letters. I need not to look twice to the letter whether there is a light or there is a letter. So both is understood simultaneously because light is all pervasive. That light is confirmed by studying the letter alone. This is one example. Every letter is an evident like that. Every minute or second is an evident of that original consciousness. That original consciousness, we need not to look for that original consciousness anywhere else. Departure is because of that original consciousness. Arrival because of that original consciousness. Life between the arrival to departure is nothing but in the original consciousness. So when we experience something, that experience itself a kind of evident of that existence of that original consciousness. Like when you look at the fan, when you look at the light. This also can be taken as an engage. It happened in my life fellow. So when my mom was cooking, at that time, the electricity went off. Then my mom asked, me to go to the next door, means next house, neighbor house. She asked, you go and ask them whether the current is there or not. When I went and I saw, the fan was rotating, light was illuminating, and the radio was on. But I asked, uncle, is there electricity or not? My mom asked. That person, he smiled at me and he asked me to look at the fan. I was not able to understand why he is asking me to look at the fan. The fan is rotating. And he asked me to look at the light. The light is illuminating. And asked me to listen to the radio. The radio was on. Swami. The name is read by. As like one person, who is very famous. I don't want to name him. So he was reading the news. But after that he kept on reading the newspaper. I thought, I was not getting answer. I asked again, uncle, is there electricity or not? My mom asked for it. Then he looked at me again. He called me and he held my ears and he is shaking my ears. He said, oh, intelligent person. It is in my mother tongue, it says, Buddhu, intelligent person, because of the presence of electricity alone, fan can rotate. May you are not able to see that electricity, that rotation itself is an evident. And the same electricity which is in the form of light, that light itself is an evident of presence of electricity. The words and sound which is coming from the radios, you may not see the electricity directly because electricity cannot be seen directly. It can be discerned by mind, my dear. Therefore what? I said, yes, there is electricity. Yes, that's all. You go and tell your mom. That's all, matters completed. I ran to my mom and I said, Ma, there is electricity. That is the great example here. When we taste something, that taste is because of what? That electricity which is invisible to these eyes, because these eyes having sight is because of that electricity. So my ear becomes like a radio, means my eyes becomes like a illuminating tube light or bulb. My hands and legs are equal to the fan. The action is because of what? That original electricity. We need not to find, where is God? Where is God? Where is God? People think they are so intelligent after having this question. Your action is an evident. Your, experience of your sense organ is an evident. Experiencing the enjoyments through every indriya is the evident of that entity which presents all over, means everywhere. So when we realize it, that Chidabhasa, one who is understood in limited way, that limitation, even it is understood, objectified by that original consciousness, my dear. I repeat again, The limitation also perceived means objectified by that original consciousness alone. But we say that I am too limited, I am too limited. How can you say you are too limited? The limitation is understood how? The limitation is understood means what? It is objectified by our buddhi. Buddhi is able to objectify my limitation. It means what? It is able to experience that unlimitedness. It is able to not express, but it is able to identify itself with that unlimited consciousness. Today the session is very challenging, isn't it? But it's very important. Therefore I gave two examples. Every letter is an evidence for the presence of electricity. Means light. The fan and radio and light and mixy makes noise and movement. They are the evidence of electricity. If I ask you, is the electricity exist in only fan? It's not existing. Is it not existing all over? The total room is, filled with electricity, but the fan has got the capacity to express it because the fan is created in such a way that movement becomes an evidence for the presence of the electricity. In the same way, light. When there is an illumining light, that it is evident. If you disconnect the electricity to the fan, fan will be standing. At that time it becomes a dead material. Like that, when this Chidabhasa, the limited consciousness, reflection of Brahman, reflection of original consciousness, it travels to another Sharira. Then what? Buddhi, mind and all sense organs are taken to another body. Now this body becomes what? A dead material. It becomes like a wooden tree, wooden furniture. It doesn't have the evidence to realize. From being in that Sharira, it will start enjoying the presence of Brahman. Now what I experience? When I experience the letter of a book, I experience the letter, but I experience the light. That is the proper understanding. When I experience the fan, rotation of the fan, but I can discern, means I enjoy the presence of the electricity. Now the electricity enjoyed in the form of wind which comes, air which comes through fan, in the form of light which comes through bulb, in the form of noise, means the sound which comes through radio, all of them are what? They are evident. I enjoy the presence of the electricity. In the same way, every thought which comes from me, every experience which I am enjoying through my sense organs, every actions which I am performing through my sense, means organ of actions, all of them are nothing but enjoying the presence of that supreme consciousness. But the limitation which is given by the ignorant Atma, means which is known as Chidabhasaha, limited consciousness. It is very challenging. Swamiji, why should I understand like this? Now you see, I have spoken for 10 minutes today. From the beginning to now, there are only 10 minutes have gone. But I have given whole content of this class. Only these 10 minutes. If you are confused, this video will be uploaded. They are uploading the videos. Just listen it very carefully. I am very serious about the teaching because this teaching doesn't belong to me. These teachings belongs to our Guru Parampara. We have the responsibility to present it properly. But my effort to present properly that how it was presented by my Guru to me to understand, to realize the reality. That's what my effort, that's what my prayer from Lord Venkateshwara, that capacity to present it properly. Today I have presented. We enjoy, but we think I am enjoying the world, but we are enjoying the presence of the Brahman. Now what about the world? World is mithya, my dear. There is no world. There is no world at all. That's what the message by this 15th chapter. How can you say there is no the world? The world is full of what? What we think the world is with name and form. Again, you should take the example of pot. When you see the pot, you are enjoying the clay, not the pot. Pot and clay is one and the same. Sadeva somya idamagre aset vacharambhanam vicharam namadeya mrittiketyeva satyam. All those words are so evident. When you see any jewels, pendants, if you see a bangle, you are not seeing the bangle. You may enjoy the bangle, but you are really enjoying the gold which is in the form of bangle. When you see the earring is nothing but the gold. Now you are enjoying gold as the earring, as the bangle, as the chain, as the ring. That's all. The world which is appearing in different form, but what is experienced through me is Brahman alone. This is what Vedanta is, it's shaking all our ideology about our lives. And why we become sad, I don't know, after having, what is this? This world, is it false? Is it fake? Is it mithya? Mithya means what? That which appears as though it exists, but it is not, like a mirage water. Mirage water, it seems to be so real, and it seems to be having existence. When you want to reach there, you have to chase it. After covering 100 kilometers, still it is visible. In the desert, it is not like that. Nowadays, in the concrete road, we can see the water, means mirage water in there. Now Bhagavan have said, a person who is known as having jnana chakruhu. Jnana chakruhu means what? The knowledge which is given by the Shastra. That becomes third eye. Jnana chakruhu. Who has the knowledge of Shastra? He realizes about the departure and one who sets the departure, and one who is the cause of substratum of the departure. He knows the reality. When we read the letters, we just enjoy what letter are light. Light is being enjoyed. In the same way, the departure means through departure, through every action of life, the Brahman alone is enjoyed. Not only while departure. So when we say, I am, that I am includes what? And I experience myself. I experience body, mind, sense, complex. Through the experience of body, mind and sense complex, what I experience the presence of Brahman. But only thing I may experience it is in limited way, not knowing the fact. That limitation comes due to what? Karma phala. The karma phala is caused by what? Ignorance. Now I am hitting that ignorance. When I remove the ignorance, the limitation it seems to be, but it won't give bondage to me. So this is what is known as Vedantic approach towards the life. We may amaze. And who is endowed with Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna? Now Ahankara, which is endowed with Sattva Guna. Again, by enjoying Sattva Guna, we experience the Brahman. The Brahman, the Supreme Consciousness alone experienced through every incident, accident, every moment of our life. The presence of Brahman is experienced only by the Chidabhasa, Buddhi, and with the help of all the sense organs in subtle body. These words are very powerful words, I tell you. But he said, one who has the knowledge of Shastra. In order to gain the knowledge of Shastra, what should have been done? We should have done Upasana. We should have been adapted a life of yogi, a yogi. That's what is explained in the next verse. Let us read it. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyantyatmanyavasthitam yatantopyakritatmanaha nainam pashyantya chetasaha. The person, one who adapts the style of a yogi. Yogi means what? Here we have to remember the first two stages of the spiritual activities. What are they? Sakama karma yoga, nishkama karma yoga. Then upasana yoga. There are two kinds of upasanas. What are they? Ekarupa upasana, anekarupa upasana. These fourfold, which are categorized as a twofold, karma yoga, upasana yoga. The person, one who has completed these 4 steps, which are categorized as a two, karma yoga and upasana yoga. Karma yoga means becoming mature through karmas, using our own wishes and utilizing our own intention with every karma. I mean, cultivating selflessness with every karma. What is that cultivating selflessness? Because we cultivate selfishness. When we perform an action, the action with the expectations. The journey which we adapt one place to another place, we always perform with expectations. That's what the nature of a human being. That's what nature of other creatures do. We have to cultivate. We have to perform karma in order to gain a capacity to become a selfless person. Every action must be performed without selfishness. The selflessness must be practiced with the same karma alone. Once you are able to practice that selflessness with karma, then you can get in the maturity. For that, what kind of karma that I should do? The same karma. When you earn money for whom? In order to get security, in order to get pleasure. Now, you just switch over it. I would like to give security to all. I don't want to have security. That's all. That's the first change. So I am going to work for not my security. I am going to work for the universe security. Then that's the first stage. Then the second stage, the understanding universe doesn't need the security because it is already secure with Brahman. That is the knowledge we have to get. Therefore, using karma to get maturity, using upasana, mental karma, means it's a serious upasana, not with the world, with our own self. It's known as yogi. Yoginaha yatanti. Yogis make effort. They perform lots of sadhanas, which are in the form of karma yoga, which are in the form of upasana yoga, and which is in the form of shravana manana nididhyasanam called jnana yoga. Atmani avasthitam pashyanti. Because the people who effort, because of the effort, they are able to see the Atma, which is in their own nature, or which is in the form of their own nature. Atmani avasthitam enam atmanam pashyanti. They are able to realize the fact of the entire universe in the form of their self. Okay? Akritatmanaha enam achetasaha na pashyanti. The people who don't make the efforts, who are not undergoing karma yoga, means upasana yoga, jnana yoga, they cannot understand. Being in the Brahman itself, being in the secured Brahman itself, they can become insecure. When the same example, I'm giving again, when they study the letter, they forget, they are not noticing, discerning that the light is also enjoyed. Just they are sticking with the movement of the fan, not enjoying the electricity, not becoming aware about the electricity. They enjoy the light, they enjoy the wind of a fan, they enjoy the song of the radios, but they are not aware about the electricity, the nature of electricity. Achetasaha, those people are known as mindless people. Mindless means what? The people who don't have backup from Shastra, means the knowledge from Shastra. The Ajnanis are explained in these words. and the people who becomes aware, they are also explained in these words. Okay, that is a beautiful verses, these two verses, verse number 10 and 11. It talks about self is realized by the self, the identification of the self through the self. Now every experience, enjoyment is evident, is evident of presence of this Brahman. The person, one who gets this kind of capacity, he is able to get rid of departure and arrival, the cycles of birth and death. We'll continue to the next verse tomorrow in the next session. May the Almighty Lord Venkateshwara bestow us to realize these verses properly, because these verses are boon for us, boon for our humanity. We'll realize the importance of these words, then we'll continue with these verses. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namo Namah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.